Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's September 29th, 2024, and I'm down here around the New Pond excavation site. I've been doing some transplants down here the last couple of days, moving wood chips down here as well. And so one of the goals is to get as many of the bushes and trees moved down here that I can do. Today I've got a couple more high bush, our native high bush blueberry bushes like these ones here are. These are all our native high bush blueberry bushes, and there are a lot of dogwoods that are caught up in the midst of them. When the birds are there, they excrete their material, and we get a combination in each one of the spots. I've got two more of the native high bush blueberry bushes up in the first food forest that I want to move down here. I'll make a couple of spots down here. And then I need to dig up some of the currants, divide those, and we got blacks and reds that I'll be distributing around in here as well. Next season, I'll be taking a lot of the hardwood cuttings from curly willows and planting those all around here as well. The beaver really like those. I may move some poplars down here as well, so we'll see. So I'm going to get started now. Let's see what we can get accomplished today. So I'm starting off using Elan to dress up the areas, just cleaning up some of the trees that are encroaching on the area, then digging a small spot for the larger of the two high bush blueberry bushes. Again, just cleaning up some of the debris around there. Then heading up to the first food forest and seeing if I can get the first high bush blueberry plant out of the first food forest. So much to be done in the food forest up there. The second and third food forests I've been working on this last year. The first food forest has really been neglected. Lots of weeds, lots of vines, and other things that have just totally encroached on everything. So this blueberry bush here has a couple of dogwoods in it with it as well, but this one scooped out relatively easily with Elan. Nice root ball there, and so I'm just going to bring this back down to the pond section and get this set in there. So I'm going to try and over the next couple of weeks focus on the first food forest and see if I can do some of the pruning that's way behind. Remove the cages similar to our tomato cages that we use in the gardens, which is reinforcement concrete material. Now depositing it in the location where I want it, and there's checking to see if I can pull out the dogwoods that are in there, and I just go ahead and start backfilling around. The soil that's here is a mixture of sand and the very nice dark rich topsoil that was down in here, so that worked out pretty darn well. It's really handy having an excavator to do these jobs and all. So smooth it out there some, and while I've got it, make another little spot for the small blueberry bush that I still got to go get yet. And so it's time now, since those dogwoods didn't just pull out easily, I decided to just go ahead and get the loppers and prune those ones off. So taking care of that now. Good. Now I've got the small blueberry bush here from the first food forest, just pulling out any weed material around the root ball itself. It's a very small root ball, this one is, so I'm leaning it up against the bucket of the excavator just to support it where I want it. Really important to make sure that where the main stalks of that leave the root ball aren't buried. These blueberry bushes have very superficial root structure, so don't have to go very deep at all for these native high bush blueberry plants. So just use the green machine, the Avant 860i, to bring down that soil, get that set into the location. Go ahead and dress up some of the soil around, make sure it's where I want it. Then I'll use Elan to finish it off, get it in the level plane that I want it to be, pack it down well enough. These aren't completely dormant, any of these bushes at this point. The blueberries really handle it quite well, the stress of this situation. It'll take a good year and a half for them to turn around completely, but for the most part they will do really well. Dogwoods are much more sensitive, especially since the dogwoods have had the soil removed from the root balls. Now I'm just going to go over here and make a little divot here with the bucket, and then take the dogwood that I have set in the pond. You'll see I put the roots down into the moisture there, and going ahead, put it in there, and I use my feet to backfill a little bit to help support it, and use Elon to finish it up right there, get that all set. So thank God for heavy equipment and having two pieces of equipment. So having the green machine to deliver the soil, and it was really handy too when I excavated this pond. It was really handy taking all of that, separating the topsoil from the sandy material and salvaging that. Now I'm up right next to the solar array, digging out some of the red currant bushes. So I'm just set them to the side, dropping them so to get as much of the soil off. Now this whole first food forest here, this is all gravel, sandy gravel in this area. So it drains extremely well. But about 14 years ago, I started putting wood chips all over in this area, and then started planting a lot of the trees that you see here. Now these currants here, all these bushes have been neglected for a few years, since I was constructing the greenhouse. And therefore I wasn't doing the pruning, and a lot of the main limbs have curled over. You'll see as I start pruning these, you'll see that they're curled, and I'm going to remove the big, heavy, bulky, older main stems that come up, and using the reciprocating saw with about an 8-inch multi-function blade that's a used blade, and I saw down through the root structures. Currants are one of in the family of the ribes. So red currants, pink currants, white currants, red currants, black currants, gooseberries. They all produce the roots and really take off quite easily. So they're real easy to propagate. So I knock off the soil, pull out as many weeds as I can. Then I go ahead and find a spot where I can put the reciprocating blade through, saw down through the main root structure, separate the area, and then I do this a couple of times. Now during this video, you'll see me doing some of the pruning here bit by bit. Now I'm using the Klez bypass pruner, the battery powered one. I really love this. This works really well. So you may be able to see that this could be split once again right in between those two stalks there. You can see a crevice down in between, and I should have done that. I do that the next day. You can see some of these are curled right down. Now they tend to go upright, but we live in an area when the berries are on them and all, and the deer are munching on them and they get overgrown, and then the snow load or ice storms make the limbs just lay right down in the side, and they'll actually send out roots where they're touching the ground. There's one right there I just cut off, that where the roots had started where it had touched the ground. So in this video I'm not showing, so you see the massive amount of roots that these have. I'm just putting it in the Green Machine's bucket right now. I've got the Green Machine, the Avant 860i, in the shade. It'd be at the right of the screen there, the shade cast by the solar panels. So I'm trying to keep these, and then after I'm done with this at nighttime, I will go out and moisten down all of the roots so that they stay pretty moist. Now these are dormant, so they stand a really good chance of doing well next season as well. So when you look at the root, the amount of massive root there, when I pick one up, that is going to be pruned, and I'm going to have to show it in a future video, because the video that I did the very next day, this is a couple days later that I'm doing this voiceover for this, but I pull out all the weeds that I can from the root area there, then find a section there I want to go ahead and do another main division. So you can see I've already cut it in half the first time, and I think I'm probably going to cut this again in half. And then all that root, I'm going to cut it off to it's only maybe 6 or 8 inches in length from the base of the root crown. So there we go. Find another spot, put the blade through, cut my way down. As long as you've got some roots on there, you're in good shape. Divide this, and then they separate out. So you can see there's plenty of root. There's way more than enough root. Now you can see there's a lot of bent over ones on this one here, so I'm going to do some heavy pruning, get that Klez bypass pruner there. Certainly, just using any bypass pruner would do great. You don't want to use an anvil pruner for this. Only for dead wood do you want to use the anvil pruner. This does really nice clean cuts. So all the curly stuff that has been leaning over, I want to give it a good shot for going up straight. And these really produce lots of berries and lots of canes, and I would really recommend pruning these once a year, every fall, if you could. That would be great. And you can see the amount of roots that are there. All that root material has to be cut, at least half of it, the length of them cut off half. I wouldn't remove the entire root, but I'd remove half of the length of it, or 2/3 of the length of it. So that looks, and the next day when I transplant those, I go ahead and cut the roots back quite a bit, and I prune them back a little bit more, and may even do another division on some of them. Real fortunate, one of our friends wanted to do like a living fence, and so she took a whole bunch of these after I got done. So that was really, really great. Again, want to pull out now. One of the things about the roots on these are they're a rusty colored brownish root. So if you see anything that looks white in there or tan, you want to pull those right out. So those are weeds. Just keep, and you know, I really encourage you, if you're going to do this, don't be afraid of pruning. And these sections that you're pruning off, you can stick those in the ground, and there's a good chance you'll get some roots from them as well. So I'm trying to remove the great big canes and all. So that looks okay. Those roots really got to be cut way back before putting it in the ground. You don't want those roots curling around in a hole. You just want to have just enough root to extend to the margins of the hole. So that works pretty well. So I'm going through that again. So, okay, I am going to separate that section right there. And that does have some root on it. That would take right off, but I don't think I saved that one. And there's way too much root for the amount of cane material that's upright. So that really, the roots, I'm not demonstrating that at all. The roots really need to be kicked back quite a bit. And so I'm digging out a couple more of these red currants. First thing I want to do is divide it, or pull out as much weed mass around the margins of it as possible, and start pruning it down, getting it down to the right size, bit by bit there. A bit better close up here, you can see. And of course, I wouldn't recommend letting them overgrow to the size that they are. These are way overgrown. These should have been dug up and divided quite some time ago, or kept pruned back every single season. The red currants aren't as popular with people when they come to buy them from our nursery. The black currants are the most popular ones, and the black currants are super nutritious, more nutritious than blueberries are, or blackberries. And the red currants are very nutritious as well, but they don't have those anthocyanins. They have other flavonoids that are very beneficial. So that's about it. I'm just going to do some more work here, pruning, and tomorrow we'll post a video showing me doing some quick transplants up into the third food forest along a swale margin. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe and take care. Bye-bye now.